Shoot, how you been?
I really just been cooling for real, bro. Just trying to get to the
Yeah,
money. You know how
I
I
know
go.
how it goes. I seen your game, bro. It's wild, bro. Watching you is always crazy because I feel like, being in the same room as you and then going crazy like that, 7 for 111 and a tud. I was like, bro, that's insane. That's insane.
The same way though, bro. When I look back and like I was watching y'all games, like when I watched y'all play against UNC and you had caught the tud to walk it
Yeah,
off,
that's what we live for, though. I
I
feel like when you had your game versus UNC two that 2018, he was having the one-handed catches and everything. I'm like, bro, this man's just going crazy. It's like, especially with like our team, I felt like anybody could have snapped that year, which was like the best part about it. You know what I mean?
talent for
I don't,
so much talent.
but really, like, I wanted to get into it. Like, I know you started off at quarterback, which is like crazy to
Yep.
me, and like, I feel like when they talk about it all the time, like we don't really even talk about like the transition, how that was on like you, because you started off at quarterback in high school, and like transitioning in college where you have to go to case, you have to go to all these different things that you have to handle. And I felt like you handled it so well. I feel like, explain that to like people that don't really understand that, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean that was it might have looked like I handled it well, you know what I'm saying? But I had a good support
Right.
system. So that's I mean, in front of the team it was all good. Like I'm happy to be a receiver, but you know what I mean, to my parents, to my friends back at the crib, they all knew like I was sick
Right.
to the stomach.
Right. Like talk about I mean
I want to be no you
like
said
how
what?
was that like you know what I mean? I'm just like I don't know how you did it so smoothly though. Like not even just like the how you felt, but like the transition from like to receiver was so smooth. Cause like when I watch you now, still too, it's like it's so the way you play is so I feel like refreshing for the game. It's like creative. You're one of the most creative receivers. When I was watching like your game versus the Jets, might have been the year y'all had Cam Newton, and you ran that like over, back across. It was like it's just so free and smooth. I was like, I don't know how you like developed yourself into that. Maybe because you started off at quarterback, and then let's kind of like having that freedom. If that makes sense.
I probably say it's because I played so many different sports. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? I've really been playing sports year round since I was like
Right.
3. On some, I done had different flavors, different sports, and you just combine them all, and it kind of really helped me as a
Right.
receiver. So when it was just like, what am I used to doing for real, and how can I apply it to what I'm doing now? Because I had never played
Right.
receiver until that point. But I ain't never played receiver for some reason. So I switched over, and I was just like, I got to just do what it is I
Right.
know, and it ended up.
That's
You know what I'm saying?
insane. And it's like I don't know. You always like held yourself like collect. I have like a story from like 2017, and I don't even know if you remember it, but I'm just being a freshman. I'm like lost, bro. Don't even know what I'm doing. I don't know. I just went over to your room to start hanging out. We are just watching. I don't know, whatever. I'm stressed out that I might get like a couple plays, but like you're over there, you're a starter, whatever. And you're just like kind of chilling, just like free, like before the game, just like really like loose. I just feel like I don't know, talking about like that maybe like how loose you were, how like I don't know when you were like before the game, you're very like loose. I felt like you felt like you were very free, and then come game time, you're just laser focused. Like I just remember that about you. Like kind of talk about that and how that kind of came about.
Yeah. I mean, I done been multiple ways. You know, I tried to be serious all the time thing, and it don't work for me. You know, I like to enjoy what
Right.
I'm doing. I feel like we get trying to make it and trying to make money that we forget that we playing a game. You know what I mean? We really enjoy playing football. So once I finally kind of, cause like I said, when I first switched to receiver, I was just mad, and I was like, all right, now I got to try to play
Right.
catch up. So serious. But once I kind of figured it out, it was really just like I'm having fun,
Right.
and you got to that with everything. If you ain't doing something that you enjoy, there ain't no reason to really be doing it in life. You know
Exactly.
what I mean? Time to complete. And so, like I said, I just love life. I enjoyed the guys. You know what I mean? I enjoyed being around y'all, being around my boys, being on the team. So I know I didn't want to forget those moments. So really just not wasting time, stressed out about everything, just trying to take it all in for real.
That's how I felt like too. Those like, especially when you started to really get it. That's when it like really clicked, And like being around you in that 2018 season, because that was special for you breaking that record, having 92 catches and all that stuff, getting to 1,000 yards. Both of you guys going 4,000. Both of you guys hitting first team All ACC. Like these, we say these things like lightly, but when you're in the ACC and you're playing against these guys that are going to play on Sunday, like that is so like tough to do. Like especially day in and day out, playing against Florida State and Boston College and these tough teams, Clemson and all that, and you're putting up crazy numbers. I felt like that was always just something like that inspired me to like insane.
The thing about college, especially our room, is not even talking about the other team, but in our room, you know what I mean? At the time, we had Steph, Kel. Kel was touching 1,000, you know what I mean? Steph was trying. You and Thayer came in, CJ. It was just so competitive for real. And that's really what I liked about it the most. I like trying to be better than people, like trying to go out there and show that I'm the best, you know what I mean? I might not, I mean, you knew me. I played around a lot. I tell people, like, nah, this is what I'm going to do type stuff, but I really enjoy how, like, just seeing Kel work every day, seeing Steph work every day, you, Thayer, CJ, all them boys, seeing how y'all approach the game, it just pushed me to be a better player, so.
I feel like I was always chasing y'all, and that's like something that like kept me driven too. Seeing you like doing what you were doing, I was always trying to chase you like in the team runs, whatever it was, like just trying to keep up with you and like Kelvin. And I felt like that's what helped me become like such a better player. Also, as we kept going on, because you guys were so talented at what y'all did, but being that younger guy and having Steph and CJ and you and Kelvin ahead of me, I'm like, all right, this is what I've got to do to like get great. And I feel like for young athletes, just about understanding like that there are going to be guys that are older than you, whatever the case may be, but like learning from them, not trying to like do too much or not try to like step on their like toes, just trying to like learn from them instead of like shying away from them or trying to make it into a competition. Like as much as competitive as it was, we were so in tune with each other and we like loved each other and we were so happy for each other when we did score. And that's like a big thing in football. I feel like that doesn't really get like announced,
Nah, that's facts though. Everybody really do. The best teams are the ones that really don't even need
right.
coaches. The guys, when I first got to the Patriots, you kind of just seen that, and I learned how important it was to watch the old heads work. I had Jules in front of me. I had a crazy room. Jules, Josh Gordon. We had Demarius Thomas at one point. AB. Different people approach the game. It's kind of like reading a book. They say you can learn so much from reading the book because whatever somebody had to say, they put it in the book or they had to write it down sooner or later. So if you watch an old head, they made it there for a certain reason. So you kind of just see how they attack the game. It's kind of just a cheat code. It's like getting the answers to the steps.
That's not like, and going into like your rookie year too, being undrafted too. Like, I don't know how you were so mentally tough. Like that whole having a season that you did and then not getting the like acknowledgement that it should have, and then still having to like, it's not like you're done fighting after you do this insane season, break records or whatever. No, like you're an undrafted free agent and you have to go to the Patriots and you have to work your way up. And then on top of that, you have AB in the room, you have Edelman in the room, you have Josh Gordon in the room, like, and then having to wait your turn. And then still that season, though, gaining trust with Tom Brady and then playing that year, like, talk about that transition. Talk about how that all kind of, like, laid out. Because that's always been, like, very interesting to me.
That undrafted thing, man, that's probably one of the hardest phases of my life, honestly. That was really brutal because you honestly feel like every day you standing on the edge of a cliff. You know what I mean? I had another guy who was in the room with me. He was undrafted. He made it too. His name was Gunnar O. And he, like, every day we'll come in there, we're like, we didn't get cut today, so it's a good. I mean, you come in there like maybe this could be the day that will be my last day. So you really, when you get in that situation, you kind of feel like you ain't got nothing to lose ultimately because I'm not even supposed to be here in the first place. So they already think the worst of me. Like I'm an undrafted player. He probably won't be much help for us. So every little inch that I climbed my way up, it was just extra.
Right.
Like y'all didn't think now I'm out here starting. So it was just really trying to just scratch and claw. And I'm not gonna lie, it took a lot of patience. I took a lot of hits, man. A lot of ego hits for sure. Because what I thought I wasn't it. I really wasn't as good as I thought I was. So I just had to sit down and really look at myself in the mirror like, is this something that I'm willing to do? Am I willing to sit here and wait and be patient and just have people talk to me crazy, just all type of crazy, you know what I mean? Like just, I'm like, Jesus, man, it's just tough. But I really had to put my ego aside and just keep working day in, day out. And then, I mean, it shook back.
Right.
So shout out to my parents, though. You know, they really taught me just about when things get tough, just keep going and going, and it'll bounce back regardless. Only the cream rise to the top.
Right.
So
I was like, and like talk about also like going into camp, and then that preseason that you had was insane. Like 2 touchdowns versus the Lions, and just absolutely going insane. And like it's so tough because you have to make every opportunity as an undrafted free agent. There is no room for error. Every ball that's thrown to you has to be made, and if it's not, you might get cut. And then the thing that you did was lock in every single day. I was always looking up your stats every single day during camp too. I was like, "How's Jakobi doing? How's Jakobi doing?" I saw you went like 11 for 11, and like you can't cut somebody that goes 11 for 11 in team and 7-on-7 practice. You know what I mean? It's like you just made it so hard for them to like say no, like we can't keep him, which is like it's so hard to do. Like
it's really about just making it so hard for them to cut you. You know, like they can't hide you. They can't. As soon as they cut you, somebody else can take you. That's how good you want to play. So that was kind of my mentality. Every time I stepped on the field and I knew cameras was watching, put something so good on tape that if they cut me, somebody else was gonna find me. You know. First couple of days though, when camp first started, I'm sitting there. I'm cold. I'm talking about nobody. I'm not getting no plays. And you waiting on the guy just like you you don't want guys to go down, but you know, like, all right, if a guy go down, I'm sprinting on the field. They got to take me back off type stuff. So that actually happened to me my first week of camp because I wasn't really getting too many reps besides at the end of practice when you had already sat for about 2 hours. Ended up cramping up, and I'm talking about like, I sprinted on the field, ended up making a play. And the next day, they was like, all right, well, we knew he did that. That was the only play I made that day. Came back to 2 plays, you know what I mean? I'm getting 2 opportunities. I make both. The next week, you know what I'm saying? Some guys go down. I'm up with the starters in practice. We going against Detroit. So that's really just how it works. So you start off with one play, you make that play, and then you go up. And just like you can go up, you can fall back down, but you just got to be consistent for real, man. Keep that same mindset of whatever happened, man. I know I'm supposed to be here regardless of what people say, and I know what I can do.
I think that's so important too. Like you took advantage of the opportunities that were given to you, and people always pray for the opportunities, and when they get the opportunities, you see them out on Sunday, or you see them out in college not taking advantage of them. It's like this is exactly what you wanted. You transferred for this, and you're given that opportunity. You're not taking advantage of it. You got to understand, like these opportunities come so slim, and the fact that you did it the way you did is insane. And like also, I think just like everybody wants to know how you gain trust from Tom Brady as a 22-year-old. You know what I mean? Undrafted free agent. You came in, and I remember like watching the games, ended up going to when he really like broke out versus the Cowboys game, and he had the like catch. You broke that tackle. He made that move. I'm like, all right, like Jakobi's really settling in. Like, how did you get to that point where Tom's with you like on a one-on-one basis? Okay, like this is what I want from you, like here, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, that was probably in my whole career. I honestly can't say that was the toughest thing about being a Patriot. You know what I'm saying? Just trying to earn the trust of not just him, but the coaches, but especially him. You see what I'm saying? So that first year, I came in with a first rounder, and you know we came in with a tough class, but it felt like whenever one of us messed up, the other one would kind of be punched up. If I messed up, he would have to kind of deal with what I did. If he messed up, I kind of have to deal with what he did. So we just took a couple hits together, you know, and we was just together to go out there and make plays. But at the same time, it was good to have him on my shoulder. You know, he was trying to get better. I was trying to get better. We both trying to earn the trust of Tom. And it took some days. It took a lot of reps, a lot of ups and downs. Because I'd be good one game, and the next game it'll be, nah, you're not touching this ball today. Oh, you just didn't earn it, you know. So, I mean, it made me a better man, but I really just had, like I said, I had some good old heads. So watching them boys, is what they was doing, how they was getting open. I really just had to pay attention more, and that was hard because in college, you know what I'm saying, I had a role already. when I stepped over. I go in on third down, I make my play, and I come off the field. But in the league, it was like, all right, I ain't used to sitting like this one. This one is tough. What I do to really get better. So, like I said, you can come in and really pay attention. It'll help you a lot.
Right. Talking about like the old heads, like you said, I know in college, obviously everybody like wants to help out. They're trying to help out the younger guys. What's that difference between, like you said, Edelman was your older guy that was ahead of you? How much did he like help you out and actually like learning and like understanding it? Because a lot of guys won't do that, which is like the thing. But did he help you out? And
So you would have to know him to understand how he helped me. You know what I mean? It wasn't like a sit down 1-on-1. All right, Kobe, I need you to do this. I need you to do that. But it was like a random outburst of, all right, you're not doing this, so you need to, you know what I'm saying? So you really just had to pay attention to what he had going on
right,
at the time, because necessarily, let me take you out to dinner and coach you up type thing, because Edelman is
right,
competitive. And I respect about him more than anything. He don't care how old he was getting. He don't care if he was getting slower. He's going to come out every day and put his best foot forward. And he made it tough on me. Like, I'm talking about just trying to keep up. I'm like, all right, bro, I don't get it, bro. How is he getting open
right.
so much? But he played tough. He's a great player to play
Mm.
behind for my career. Mentality he had, I just really tried to adopt to myself, and it's been helping me to this day for real. Just how he blocked, ran routes, all
Right.
that. So,
And like you said, the competitiveness. Our NC State practices were insanely competitive, and they're still insanely competitive. I know a lot of NFL teams are a lot more laid back, but everything that I hear about the Patriots is that it's literally like NC State is just so competitive. You guys are lifting weights after practice. You guys are running after practice. Like, talk about that kind of like competition that comes into practice. Because I feel like that makes you better as the player as the season goes, though. You're getting one-on-one reps in practice like we were like week 8 and week 9, where some guys might be like kind of like laying it loose. Kind of like
yeah.
talk about how that keeps you like fresh and like ready.
Cool, man. I ain't gonna lie. Patriots practices are tough. They tough. Like, we run and we hit. You know what I mean? I did not expect to come into an NFL full pads thumping with grown men.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that's what we do. We run in with full pads on. But honestly, I gotta say, like, as weird as it's about to sound, man, that man George really kind of helped prepare me for that, because you knew how it was with him. He played the mind games. You would think you're doing good, and all of a sudden it was like, nah, like, just go sit down
Right.
type thing. So, and the Patriots kind of the same way. Like, they really don't want anybody getting like comfortable for real. You know what I mean? They want to know that you can roll with the punches and that you can really see things through when it's getting tough. And you, like, as I said, George was really all about that. It don't matter how good you was doing. If you couldn't really handle what he was putting on your plate, you was on the bench. So, like I said, he really helped me a lot. And as far as the competitiveness, man, y'all boys really, y'all had already prepared me
Right.
for that. I was out with Kel and Steph and you for Tuffy, you
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? So, pretty much easy. It was just a higher level when I got to the league.
Mm.
That's all.
That's what I loved about George, Coach McDonald. He was so, especially like after you guys left and we had that crazy 2019 season. I remember coming back to 2020 season, and he was just like, all right, like, things are going to change. This is my level of intensity, and you're going to either match it or you're not going to match it. And that season, I felt like I started to become like y'all. Y'all started to understand how he like would run things, and like for me, when I started to understand that level of intensity that I had to bring to practice every single day, that's when like my play went to like a whole nother level. Because it wasn't like I was coming out to practice, okay, I'm doing my thing. Obviously, like, I'm going to be the number one or whatever. It was like I'm coming out to dominate whoever is across from me, like, every single day. And like that just like transfers over into life as well. Like, the level of discipline I have now versus if I were to have another coach is like night and day. I know that like is the same for you. Like, just small things and the details that we have to like do. A lot of receiver coaches, like, as you like go on, you'll probably understand like they're not as detailed as Coach McDonald was. And like that's one thing like I've forever like thanked him for, was like that level of like detail and like discipline.
It wasn't in the way that we liked, but he was the perfect coach for me to switch from quarterback to receiver, because he just, I don't know how, but he always knew how to get under my skin You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, kind of showed me that I had enough talent to make it to the next level. So, like I said, he was really a great coach for me. And moving forward, he made it a lot easier dealing with a lot of other coaches because I already knew he'd come in there and he'd make his jokes about you. He'd tell you straight up, nah, you didn't play good. So, you know
Right.
what I'm saying? So, like, I appreciate, like I said, he made it a lot easier moving forward.
Talking about going back to the Patriots, talk about like the transition from Tom to Cam Newton. So like that's very interesting, especially from like a fan's perspective, having two former MVPs of the NFL. Like, you know, it's very rare a receiver gets blessed like that, and the fact that you're able to play with them and truly like grow a connection with them. Talk about like that transition and also the level of, I guess, some things that you might have learned from them or the level of preparation that it took to kind of take the field with those kind of guys.
Not too many people know this, man, but Cam really kind of saved my career.
Really?
So when Cam first got there, well, that was my second year in the league, and it was still at a point when the season first started. I wasn't playing. They would take me to games. They'd sit me. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't even sit on the sideline. Like I would sit up in the box, a healthy scratch, and that's not really the best thing to be in the NFL, a healthy scratch.
Right.
So probably like the 6th or 7th game in the season, like my mood had completely changed. I wasn't talking. I had headphones on every day in the building. You know what I mean? Like I was really going through it, and he just came to me and was like, I could see it, man. I could see it. Like you a good player, but just you in your own head right now. Like just keep going. You know what I mean? When your number called, you'll be all right. But like I was
Right.
down, and he came into the building and really like lifted me up. And then when I finally got my chance, man, he was giving me the ball. He was feeding me. Stayed positive. Whenever he went and trained, he'd take me with him. Like Kim was really a great quarterback to play with. You know what I mean? Like I've enjoyed all the quarterbacks I've played with, but as far as lifting me up as a person, and at the same time really just helping me as a player, nah, he
That's
definitely
so
did.
And like we only get to see it from like the media perspective, so we see Cam's like, you know, dancing or whatever, but like to hear that kind of like as a true leader, that's something that he doesn't even have to do. Like, you know, a guy that's, you know, might not be playing as much, he doesn't even have to say like, hey, like, you know what I mean, especially because it's the NFL and like, you know, they're more people are more responsible for themselves than like other guys, and then to just grab somebody like that that's, you know, a younger guy or whatever, just speaks levels to like kind of guy that he actually is.
Definitely is, man. He was a great dude. Like I said, I don't play with a lot of great dudes, a lot of great personalities at quarterback. Like Mac is a good one too, but at that time in my life to be a young kid, I was probably like the 5th or 6th receiver on the depth chart. You know what I mean? Ain't too many people worried about the 5th or 6th
Right.
receiver. But and my career took
Right.
off shortly after.
That's crazy to me. It's crazy, yeah, crazy that you, like I hear that because like everybody's like thinking like it's the NFL and you know you're supposed to be happy, you're doing your dreams, but like at the end of the day, you're a person, you're an athlete, like you're still going through the battles of being a 5th or 6th receiver, climbing up that ladder, now becoming the number one. Like that's like a very true struggle that like people are like, oh, he has the money, he has this, that, and the third. And it's not even about that. It's really about trying to become the best at your craft, which is interesting to me, you know?
It's people don't really understand like the stress that come with being in the NFL. Like yeah, we get you know what I'm saying we get money, we get popularity, or you get a lot of good things, but it do weigh on you a lot too. You know, it do really kind of make you look yourself in the mirror and ask like, how am I doing, or like, is this what I want to do? But like I said, that's why only so many people do it for real because it's tough. It's tough to handle.
How do you feel like what has helped you the most during the NFL? Because a lot of people I feel like are going through different tough times themselves. What do you feel like has helped you the most? If it's like a certain place you go through throughout the week before the games, or like a certain thing that you do, maybe meditate or whatever. What do you feel like has helped you the most, kind of throughout these long seasons, man? 17 games is wild.
Crazy, man, because the same people who was there when I switched to receiver and was like down and out was the same people who was here when I made it to the league and I was struggling to know if I wanted to still play. So, like I said, find some people that you could really lean on. And everybody say like, yeah, complaining and this ain't gonna ever fix it, but sometimes you just gotta let it out. And you gotta have people who will look you straight in your face and be like, bro, you tripping. You know what I mean? I got a bunch of people in my life right now that tell me straight up, like, bro, you tripping. So I'm real grateful for them because honestly, without them, I don't know if I'm who I am today.
Right.
So, man, if you got good people in your life, man, tell them you appreciate them because having somebody that'll listen to you, hear you out, and then come back and tell you the truth, it's hard to come
I
by.
can go just a long way, and it's just about listening. Sometimes, like sometimes you just need to like let it out, like you said. And I know during the season, so many times I had so much that I was going through, like during the season, and I would just call my mom and just cry it out. People don't even know, like you get 0 targets in the game, like crazy, and you just have to cry that out, bro. Like you just I grab my mom so many times after the game, just let it out. Like that was the best way I could heal and come back, because after having a 0 target game and then going through a whole nother week of practice, like that is like such a stressful, like you're like, I cannot go through that again. You know what I mean? Like, so like having just certain people that can really, like you said, just hold on to and just let that thing out is like a huge thing that you gotta really like hone in on. But I know you gotta go in a little bit. We'll just get a couple more questions that I want to do. What kind of games stood out for you during college? And then we'll do the NFL after that. Like, which game were you like, okay, like, I'm becoming who I want to become?
Oh, I would say, well, not even just who I want to become, like just a game that really kind of just really put that fire inside of me. That Louisville game that we played. Remember, I don't know if you
Yeah, I
remember
remember
that game.
that.
Remember, it was like third. Like, I ain't really. Matter of fact, I had a drop in that game. I think something like that. But I ain't play the best. But just like the energy was crazy. You know what I mean? Like everybody was out there. Everybody was out there going crazy, playing good. I ain't play the best, like I said, but just to see the team really just having a good time. I feel like we had a good time
Mm,
that game, regardless won or lost. Like we had a good
right,
time. And that fire for that game really showed me how much I loved it
right.
for real. Even if I ain't. And then the game, like on some selfishness, like just personal, I can do this type thing was just, I would say, that I think that same year, that Clemson game,
Yeah,
I played. We lost, so it ain't necessarily my favorite game, but I kind of showed myself that I could do more than what I was really telling myself I could do. I could actually make it. I could actually. At that point, I always felt like I could make it to the
right,
league, but making, I'm like, yeah, I can
right.
do this. This is something I can do for the rest of my life for real. So,
That Clemson game did stick out. You were just making so many insane catches, and it's like such a big game like that, the ABC games and stuff like that. I think making those plays is just like when you do it versus a team like that, you're like, okay, I really can do. Like, I really like believe in myself, because when you do it like versus a small school team, yeah, but like Clemson and like the Louisvilles and those packed out games in front of the crowds, when you can just taking all that energy, all that like anxiety, all that nervousness, and just channel that towards just positivity is like a huge thing. What about the NFL? You'd say?
well, the game you was talking about earlier, that Jets game, I think I ended up going for like we won. I ended up going for like 160 or something, and that was like my first
Right,
start. That was like, and that was after Cam. That literally was probably 2 or 3 weeks Cam had talked to me. So it was just everything. It was like a full circle moment. It was on my birthday. Like everything about that, I can remember everything about that game. It just really, it showed me that I kind of belonged and I could just go out there and make plays with the best of them.
right,
And I feel like the worst part any athlete can be is just questioning himself. Like, am I still good enough? Like, do I still got it? And I feel like a little bit before that game, I was really in a questioning myself
mm,
phase. Like, nah, bro, you good, bro. Just be
right.
easy. Everything will work.
I guess the last thing I would just say is like talking about the power of like making a decision. I think something that stood out so much between you and Kelvin was making that decision to leave and sticking with it. And you're like, this is what I wanted. You really took a chance on yourself, which was like and it all went perfect for you as Kelvin joins right now, I think. But and
Yo,
Kel,
Yo,
I was just,
what's going on with you, bro?
y'all see me
yeah,
well?
what you were saying.
Yeah, I was just saying between you and Kelvin, now that he's here too, that the power of making that decision is such a. There's like a force behind that. I feel like Kelvin, especially like too, when I first met him, the first things that he said to me was like, "I'm leaving in 3 years," which like especially for like an NC State player is very like unheard of. And then you like that fourth year, you're what third like second year of like really playing receiver. You're like, okay, I'm ready to go. You go to the Senior Bowl, you do your thing. You know what I mean? Like, talk about that like decisiveness in that decision. How much like power there is behind that.
I ain't gonna lie, that one was a real deal gamble. You know what I mean? I knew what I was. I knew I could make plays, but I knew I was slow. I knew I had the college issues, you know what I'm saying, where I had duked it out. Not really college, but when me and George had got into it, I knew all that baggage was following me, but I felt like I was good enough to really go make plays for it. Like college was fun, but I really wanted to see where I stacked up in the league. So it was just like this school thing cool, this college football thing cool, but I got to go try it out. And I thought I was gonna get drafted, but looking back on it, like dang, you really bet on yourself and lost.
Right.
But I mean, it myself for real. Like even when everything went south, I was still able to kind of pick it up and keep moving forward. So I lost that gamble, but
I mean, you went in the long run, man. So you're straight. I guess the last question somebody asked me they wanted to know is what your diet is like throughout the season.
They feed us at the facility, so it's actually pretty clean. One thing I gotta do it after every game. I gotta eat like pizza and ice cream. That has to be it.
As well.
I promise you, every game. If I can't get it, I just feel like my whole next week messed. It ain't even about that point. I'm sore. You know what I'm saying? Whether I play good or bad, I don't care how good or bad I play. I'm eating pizza and ice cream. Gotta have it.
That's hilarious. But I appreciate your time. I know you gotta go. I know you got things to do. But I appreciate you hopping on. And yeah. All right, brother.
All right, my boy Kev.
All right, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate you, brother.